College football roundup. Ted, if I would have told you Will Howard was going to be a starter at Ohio State 3 years ago, what would your reaction been?
That Ryan Day is self-sabotaging his program in order to get fired and get the golden parachute.
I think my reaction would have been awesome. His he must have turned out to be a great tight end.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
That was our
That's
thing, man. Remember, hey, he should just move to tight end. Guy's not a quarterback. And to his credit, has worked extremely hard and has gotten better and has gotten better and has gotten better. And now he's the starting quarterback at Ohio State with Chip Kelly as his offensive coordinator. That combination will be interesting. Very interested to see how much QB run game will be in that offense with Chip Kelly calling the plays. Sounds like Howard has really leaned up and is running really, really well. And Ted, the skill positions around him, they are loaded for the Buckeyes. I mean, loaded.
yes, they are. The entire football team is loaded. It's still shocking, and I agree. Will Howard, his improvement when he was a backup quarterback, he was so bad whenever he first was going in the game. It was horrible. Like his first, he was probably through like 8 interceptions of his first 20 passes. It was that bad. Um, but he's gotten better. Um, he looked really good at points 2 years ago and then last year. But it's still weird that he's starting at Ohio State. I He's a different style of quarterback. It just kind of feels than what they've had recently. Um, I wonder how it kind of got to this spot for Ohio State. It's like they had a constant, they were so deep at quarterback. It was one year after another. They had an
Well,
elite talent there.
this is a perfect example of, and not, I get on Dablo a lot. I understand that. But this is a perfect example of using the portal when it turns out, hey, you missed on a guy. And I think it was clear Ohio State felt that they missed on Kyle McCord. That,
Yeah.
he got out there, started playing, and that staff went, he's not good enough. He's not good enough to get us where we want to go. And that's why he's going to be the starter at Syracuse. So they went and got Will Howard. Cade Klubnik for Clemson has been average at best
Mm-hmm.
and below average for what the bar is that, Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence set for that program. But Dabo doesn't go and get a portal quarterback. So Ryan Day, I actually give him credit. It's like, hey, Kyle McCord, he was with the guy every single day. And he said, hey, he's not good enough to get us where we want to go. And they targeted Will Howard and ultimately won the bid for his services. So I'm expecting him to have a really big year because he's got Emeka Ibuka and Jeremiah Smith, who's supposed to be just incredible as a freshman.
Okay. Let me ask. I think this is really the only way I can kind of ask the question. They are loaded offensively with talent. If if you didn't know who the quarterback was and you looked at all the other pieces that Ohio State has, their schedule, all of that, and you built some thoughts as to what you think they're going to be, and then you learned that Will Howard was the starter, does it make you feel better about where they're going to go or not as good?
I think I'm kind of indifferent because
I think that's where I am too.
he's a veteran guy. And gosh, that Oklahoma State game last year, wow. I mean, he was awful. But he's been a pretty good player. I mean, he won a Big 12 championship for K State. Do I think he's going to be CJ Stroud? No. But I also think we've never seen him with these kind of weapons around him. I mean, Henderson and Judkins at the running back position.
I I don't. And Chip Kelly as the offensive coordinator is going to be fascinating to see like what do you get? What version of Chip Kelly's offenses that he's had over the years are you going to get? I don't know how Will Howard fits into that.
I do think, first of all, I'm rooting for Will Howard. I've had the pleasure of interviewing him on SiriusXM quite a few times, and just a very likable guy. I'm rooting for him. I hope he goes out and balls out for Ohio State. But we've never seen him have these kinds of weapons around him. But we've never seen him have to play in an environment with like these types of expectations. Ohio State and Kansas State are not created equal. They're just not.
Mm-hmm.
And especially over the last several years, no one has expected Kansas State to win a national title. No one.
Right.
And that is, from what I understand, it is like national title or bust with this roster for Ohio State. Like if they don't win the national title, they fall short of expectations. So Will Howard's going to be under a microscope like he's never been under before. It's going to be interesting to see. Yeah, he's going to have all these weapons, but there's a lot of pressure and stress. Like a lot comes with being the starting quarterback at Ohio State when the entire fan base is expecting you to beat Michigan and to go win a national title.
Yeah. And I'm just going to bring up their schedule because I mean, I think don't they have a tough non-conference game early? If I remember right. I don't know. Everyone's schedule's more difficult. They're actually pretty good early on. They do go to Oregon in October. They play number 25 Iowa at home on the 5th of October. Then they go to Oregon October 12th. That's going to be an insane game. 2 weeks later, they go to number 8 Penn State, which I'm very interested to see what Penn State's offense looks like. I'm uh, I'm I'm hoping we get some good stuff from them.
The You mentioned that Oregon game. It's pretty strange. Two teams in Oregon and Ohio State that a lot of people expect to win the Big Ten. I think a lot of people are going to pick one of those two teams to win the national title, along with Georgia. The majority of people are going to pick Georgia, but I think a lot of people will pick Ohio State and some people will pick Oregon. They're preseason number 2 and number 3. And they've got these veteran quarterbacks that were essentially forced out by younger guys, where the staff went, hey, in Manhattan, they went, Avery Johnson, it's your team now. And
And
in
it
Norman,
kind of started happening towards the end of that season, didn't it? A little
yeah.
bit. They started giving him some more snaps.
And Dylan Gabriel, I mean, we know what happened here in Norman. So it's just very interesting. Two of the teams, I mean, two of the top 3 preseason teams have these veteran quarterbacks that their last staff basically said, "Hey man, yeah, move on. We're rolling with the young guy." It's just strange.
And this is a new question. And I mean, it's always been there, but now with the 12-team playoff, it's going to be more difficult than it's ever been if you don't have like a championship caliber quarterback. Because you're going to like your final 4 or 5 games of the year are going to be against the best of the best. And you're going to have some incredible quarterback play. Like you're not just going to be able to line up and out athlete everyone. Like you're going to have some really good, sharp quarterback play to go win the whole thing.
Or just be able to run the rock over everyone like Michigan did last season. But
Yeah.
even then, McCarthy had to make some plays.
Yep.
In the college football playoffs. So I don't know. It is Will Howard's the starting quarterback at Ohio State. Good for him. I really do. I hope he plays well.
Yeah.
Do you see the Gundy quote from his media
Yes,
availability?
I did.
For those of you that missed it, here it is. There's no negotiating now. The portal's over. all negotiations history. Now we're playing football. Tell your agent to quit calling us and asking for more money. It's non-negotiable now. It'll start again in December. Now we're able to direct ourselves just at football, and that part is fun because there's been so much other stuff going on. It's been hard to really focus on football. What'd you think of what he said? It became a big deal, like a bunch of Mike Gundy quotes do.
It's like everything he says is like uh, very polarizing. I don't mind it at all. I don't mind it at all. Um, I go out there and earn it. I mean, I don't know what the negotiate. I'm no expert at NIL negotiations and how it works and how involved the football team is or the how it, I don't know. But I understand Gundy saying like we're past that. It's football time. You go out there, you have a great season. Well, the NIL stuff, the negotiations will start back up, and you'll get what you earn, I guess, to some degree. You want to sit there and continue to negotiate, especially for guys that have done nothing. Like I can understand how frustrating that is for a coaching staff.
Gundy's job security allows him to speak with a refreshing level of honesty.
Yeah.
And now he says some goofy stuff every once in a while, but he speaks about college football as if it's a business now. He speaks with a certain candor about the sport now that guys are getting paid. And I think what some people, I don't want to say people misunderstood it, but maybe just interpreted it differently than I did. I think all Gundy is saying is like, hey, your base pay for the year, you're locked in, bud.
Mm-hmm.
The whatever that number is, your base pay, you're locked in. We'll renegotiate. Go out there, ball out. We'll renegotiate once the season's over. He is not saying that, hey, if you go out and have a massive game, that you can't go do an autograph signing or make an appearance somewhere. That's not what he's saying. He's just saying about that base pay number. Like, hey, we are what your monthly payment that you're getting for this season, it's locked in. And I actually think it's smart for him to get it out publicly for everyone to see. His players, their parents, their reps. Everyone knows what's what.
Yep.
The deal's the deal. You're playing on the contract you were on. If you want a bigger deal, play well and you'll get a bigger deal next year after we negotiate. And it just seems like a very professional approach from Mike Gundy. And I think this new version of college football it just still makes some people uncomfortable. I'm not one of those people. I thought what Gundy said was smart and made all the sense of the world.
Yeah, because like whenever he goes out there and he says that, he he's put everybody on notice, and then you kind of have to take that and say, okay, well, we're either going to keep calling and keep asking for more money, or we're going to wait till the end of the season. And if you keep calling and asking for money, be prepared for the next press conference for Mike Gundy to throw it out there as to who's asking for more money and whatever other ways he has to maybe keep you from play. I don't know what they could do, but yeah, it's a shot across the bow, I think.
All I ever wanted as a player, whether that was in college or the NFL, was transparency. Like I just wanted to know where I stood. And I just wanted to know like what was what. Just be honest with me. So I think those guys in that locker room in Stillwater, your head football coach, who yes, there's no doubt he has flirted with other jobs to get raises in the past. We all know that. But that's his contract. That's his salary. It is what it is.
And the results are there too.
Correct. And I just think that from a transparency perspective, I appreciate Mike Gundy coming out as the head football coach and saying, hey, we're not doing this during the season. Don't call me. I'm not talking about it. Let's focus on football. Because then everyone in the locker room knows what's what. And I think that's the best way to go about it. If you're the head coach, just I'm
If
going to
you
tell the
want more
world
money,
so that
yeah,
every single one of my players knows.
yeah, tell your agent to quit calling the NIL people and start calling, get you some opportunities out there. There's all kinds of places that want to pay to have the top players at Oklahoma State come to their restaurant, come to their dealership, come to whatever thing that they have. There's a ton of those opportunities. Start doing those. You make more money. You make plenty.
I feel the same. One last thing. The college football playoff they announced they will not use conference titles as tiebreakers for the seeding of the 12-team college football playoff that will debut this year. Just a reminder, 12-team playoff this year. Top 4 seeds will be the highest ranked 4 conference champions. They'll get a first round bye. It's logical, Ted, to assume that will be the SEC, Big Ten, ACC, and Big 12. The 5th highest ranked conference champ will get in. So basically, the highest ranked group of 5 champ is going to get in. But essentially, just this says, hey, group of 5 champ, your conference title really doesn't mean anything when we're comparing you to all the other teams that we're going to put in and we're going to rank them ahead of you. To me, it kind of read like, hey, group of 5 champ, you're most likely going to be the 12th seed. That's kind of just how I interpreted them announcing this.
And that's how it should be. I mean, I I mean, to make you should be ranked with how good you are, I think, and or seeded with how good you are, because not only is it not fair for you, like to be seated higher than what you are, it's also not fair to everyone else. You know, like if you are the 5 seed, you should not be playing someone that is way better than the 5th title winner. That, you know what I'm saying? Like that's who you're supposed to be playing. So I'm glad they're doing it that way.
I do think it is odd that they're saying, hey, your conference title really doesn't matter when we're comparing teams for seeding, when we all know the only reason that they're going to be in the college football playoff is because of the conference title they won. It's a little strange.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, it doesn't matter. It's the only reason you're in, but it doesn't matter. Just, it feels a little strange.
How many horrible performances by the non power 5, by the group of 5 schools that get in before they say, okay, it was fun for doing it, we're not doing it anymore?
I've heard some group of 5 coaches talk about this. Really, this system, they get 2 years, right? Whoever that group of 5 champ is, they need to be competitive. I'm not saying they got to win a game, but if they just get blown off the field, think about what happened to Liberty last year.
Mm-hmm.
If that happens, they're gonna get that automatic bid is gonna go bye-bye. Because they're gonna be able to point to these games and go, well, we can't have that. Like no one's gonna pay. We're not gonna get the amount of money the next TV deal with that being one of the games. These next 2 seasons, these next 2 playoffs, it is absolutely crucial that whatever group of 5 team gets in shows up and is competitive in the football game.
Yeah. Do you
Now, maybe
think there
there's an
should be a
antitrust thing that keeps the automatic bid in there. I don't know enough about the legalese of all that, but yeah, a lot of
well,
people are starting to talk about, hey, why didn't the group of 5 just make their own playoff? Which I would
well,
love.
I would love it too, but as the instant they do it, and the reason they haven't done it before is money, because as soon as they do that, they already are, but it's more pronounced that they're second tier. You're admitting that you're not Division 1 football or whatever the top division is, and as soon as you do that, you kind of lose all the access to the players and the programming and all of that stuff. So I think that's why they fight so hard against going that direction. Whenever it clearly makes the most sense. Like, of the 130 schools, I mean, you've got 25 on a given year that are capable of, perhaps making the playoff and winning a playoff game. The other 105 schools, like, not capable of competing. So it's weird how it's set up.
One other thing the college football playoff announced was the members of the committee that will have to recuse themselves when certain teams are discussed. Reminder. I think this is one of the dumbest things ever. These people on this committee are all highly respected and accomplished professionals, and they make them leave the room when their team is discussed.
The team that they've watched the most.
It is dumb. It's stupid. I don't understand. You can't vote for your team either. Well, why not? You can vote for, if you're running for president of the United States, you can vote for yourself. You go to the polling place and you can vote for yourself if you're running for president. But if you're a member of the college football playoff committee, if you're the AD of wherever, you can't vote for your school, even though they may be the best team in the country.
How many people are on the committee?
Was it like 12? I don't know.
So 12. And, like, you don't want anyone from your school representing you on the committee. Like, it's an automatic non-vote. You know what I'm saying? If you happen to be in that position. It's dumb.
I think it's 13 this year. Yeah, 13.
And the deciding vote may be standing outside the room.
This announcement just reminded me that I think the committee should be, first of all, I think there should be more actual football people on it that know what they're looking at, and not a bunch of people that are incredibly busy running athletic departments at massive universities. I think it makes no sense to me. But I would love to see a college football playoff committee where being on that committee is their main job. Like, that's what they do, or at least during that time of the year, that's what they do. You are watching games, you're talking to coaches, you're talking to NFL scouts, you're talking to people, like, you are gathering information and watching football. That's what I want the college football playoff committee to be. And I want everyone to be able to stay in the room when every team is discussed, because we're grown-ups. And you don't have to make people leave when you talk about them.
Well, I agree with everything you're saying, except for I don't think there should be a committee at all.
Ooh.
I don't think
quite the zag.
I think there should be the BCS formula, whatever it is. Fine. No bias. Everyone knows what the formula is. Open source it, whatever, not able to be manipulated. Here's the criteria, spits out the best teams, on we go. Easy as can be. Don't have to worry about it. These backroom deals, I would say either that or let the fans vote, but that's a dangerous road to go down. But I don't think there should be a committee at all.
You clearly are not a television executive. And now the computer will spit out the numbers. Here we go. Number 12.
Yeah, you got to have the drama. Got to have the drama.
Got to have a little. Yeah. Reese Davis, the tiles have to flip over, Ted. Come on.
Yeah, that's true.
Got to turn everything into a TV show. But the college football playoff committee would look a lot differently if I was the czar of college football.
Yeah.
I would let
Probably
all of these extremely I would let all of these extremely busy people do their very time consuming job that they already have, as opposed.
I I would turn into a reality show where there needs to be way more people than just 12. They need to be full-time jobs for those people, and you divide it evenly between ex-football coaches and analytical nerds, and just let them just
That would be chaotic. I love it. Sign me up.